The extraordinary vessels bring to memory everybody's curriculum and inspire or motivate them, those who are attuned inward, to realize the purpose of their lives. The purpose may be to learn, the purpose may be to play, the purpose may be to teach. So, human form is acquired for three reasons: to be a teacher, to be a learner, and to play and enjoy the life. To play and enjoy and manipulate things and to exploit the people, one will become a politician, whether he learns something or not, whether he fails in school or not. He will start playing for the country, he will start playing some games, or he will play with the human lives. Whatever they play, that's up to them. Up to the cruelty that they had carried in their past lives. Tigers will be born in the human form, snakes will be born in the human form, angels will be born in the human form, and they start loving everybody and they take care and concern towards one another. So it's like a jugglery, it's like a game, a jugglery done by somebody, just pushing everybody into human life and those human lives to carry over their curriculum and then to execute their purpose of life. Therefore, each extraordinary vessel with its own pathway, function, and relationship to vital substances will go through the Ren and the Du vessels, which are like the two strong poles of a ladder, the left and right poles of a ladder. Here in the body, they are anterior and posterior and very strong. They have their own points, like the joints in those two poles, where the steps are actually connected. The steps are actually connected there. So those steps are the 6 extraordinary vessels which do not have any points on their own. So the steps are already connected to the Du on one side and the Ren meridian on the other side. If you very closely look at the Chong, Wei, and the Chio, and the Dai, to exactly say in English, the vitality vessel Chong meridian, the Wei, the regulatory vessel, the Chio, the foot and focus meridian, and the Dai, the belt vessel or belt meridian. So all these have connections. So you have Yin Chio and Yang Chio, you have Yin Wei and Yang Wei. Whereas Chong is completely Yin and Dai is completely Yang, the outer protective thing that actually holds everything from space. It's like a holder. It's like a placeholder for all the EOVs, all the organs, the whole body, and therefore gallbladder is the one, on the gallbladder meridian is the one that controls every other meridian, every other system in the body. Without detoxification, without draining the waste from your body, without putting a person into a sleep mode, the next day cannot progress. If you don't sleep properly, you will acquire n number of diseases the next day. And again, if you don't sleep on the second night also, n to the power of n, the third day you will be too sick. And if you have chronic sleeplessness, ultimately no system of medicine can cure you, except your own body, except your own mind, except your own spirit that could sleep. So all these extraordinary vessels have a key master point that unlocks that vessel. Sometimes couple points are needed to support the opening of the vessel, but that is not required sometimes. You need not couple them. Just use the master key point. 4 out of 8 master points are also luo-collateral points that resonate with the deeper Zhang Fu network and regulate the yin-yang polarity. And 2 master points, the UB62 and K6, in fact, are the first points on their associated pathways. Actually, the meridian starts, the Yang Chio starts with UB62, Yin Chio starts with K6. This shows that the Chio vessels are more closely related to the primary system than the other vessels. Now the Chong Mai is also called Sea of Blood, Yuan Qi. 5 Zhang and 6 Fu, they all are ruled by the queen of the meridians. The queen of the meridians is Chong Mai. Never forget this. The queen of the meridians and the sea of blood, sea of the meridian, sea of the 12 primary channels is Chong Mai. The master point is spleen 4 and the couple is P6. The Ren Mai or the Ren meridian, the sea of yin, the master point is lung 7. And Du Mai, the sea of yang, is SI3, hook C. And UB62, that is the yang Chio is the couple. Here the yin Chio is coupled to Ren Mai. And sea of Mingmen or vitality gate or it's already called Mingmen. Ming means brightness or life itself. Man is gate. It is gate of life. So this Dai Mai on the back, just above your coccyx. So its master is gallbladder 41 on the foot, and the coupling point is Sanjiao 5. Yin Wei, which links blood and yin and the interior, P6 and spleen 4. Yin Chiao, which removes the accumulation from the abdomen, is K6 and lung 7. Yang Chiao, which removes accumulation from the head, UB62, SI3. By removing the accumulation from the head, it is allowing a person to focus properly, which you will see in the later slides. And Yang Wei, which links the Qi and the exterior and offers protection, defense mechanism from external weather, external pathogens and all. Now come to the yin-yang formation of life. The EOVs are ancestral vessels and the master key points directly reflect the formation of life as represented by the movement in the cycles of yin and yang. The Tai-yin meridian comprises of spleen meridian and the lung meridian, and there are 2 points from each, from the foot tie-in and from the arm tie-in. There is a contribution of each 1 point towards the extraordinary vessels. I now actually I am attempting to connect you, to make you connect the normal meridian system to the extraordinary vessel system by understanding that there are meridians, the Tai-yin, the Shou-yin, and then the Tai-yang, which actually contribute to the extraordinary vessel points, that is the pair. So the energy of Tai-yin, greater yin, is where the impulse of life begins. It's the beginning of yin, the first spark of life, like a seed sprouting up and pushing its way through the soil to face the sunlight. It's the energy of wood, the energy of spring, the energy of germination of birth. So there is birth happening. It's just springing up. And Shou-yin, K6 and P6. But P6 belongs to Ju-yin. However, it belongs to Ju-yin. It is a heart protector. Therefore, it's also working along with the kidney and the heart together. So the energy of this Shou-yin or lesser-yin is about the discharge or release. This is the energy of metal, which is much needed to cut off unwanted things which are accumulated. That is like elimination of the urine, elimination of the, or decreasing the pressure, controlling the blood pressure and all that, to reduce the burdens and cut away the excesses and stagnation, to know who we are and to turn towards refinement, to bring down the stress and the heat. And Tai-yang, you can see that both the points are extraordinary vessel points and they are on the same meridian. The energy of Tai-yang or greater yang is where yang reaches its peak. This is the energy of fire and it is the fullest expression of yang. This is the energy of peak growth. It represents the fullest function of the motive force of yang. From here, the energy begins to turn towards yin. Now come to Shou-yang. There are two extraordinary vessel points on the same meridian, Shoyang. The energy of Shoyang or lesser yang is the energy of withdrawal, dormancy, and hibernation. That's why you have to sleep from 9 p.m. and to 1 p.m. and you have to go deep into your dream state or dreamless state, and you have to wake up when the sun rises. So this is actually going to become midnight. So before midnight, you have to allow your body to calm down, and there should be no other function except the detox function. It has to drain off everything like water. Nearer to the end of lives, we begin to withdraw and become more introspective. There is a conservation of resources as we reflect on what is most essential. So this reflects the deepest aspect of who we are and holds our deepest truth, leading to culmination. So these energies are reflected throughout life and expressed every day in the cycles of yang and yin, waking and sleeping. We can understand why these points need to be chosen as master key points to unlock the vessels, to gather the essence for life. Now the clinical use of the extraordinary vessels. We use Ren meridian on the anterior for abdomen, chest, lungs, throat, face, etc. And the connecting point is on the right side, the K6 on the right side, which rules Inchio. And there is due meridian, which is posterior, ruling the spine, neck, head, eyes, and brain, and coupled with or associated with the transporter point, which is on the left side, UB62 on the left side, the Yangchio. And the Chong Mai, which is interior, entering at the perineum and going deep inside, along with the spine, along with the uterine cervix, and then going inside of the uterus, one branch ascending anterior and slightly behind the kidney meridian and below the Ren meridian, and another branch just below the due meridian, and you will see 5 branches of Chong Mai today. So this is ruling the medial part of the legs, the abdomen and the chest. And the transporter is in way, which is P6. So P6 and spleen 4 are actually a couple. And we come to Dai Mai. So we actually have them as 4 sets for the influence of the areas. Dai Mai is exterior, completely outside, and allowing the person to become expansively obese or to become very thin, very lean and thin. So the Dai Mai decides how the 6 meridians, which are running from head to toe and backward from toes to head to the hands, whether they should be shrunk or whether they should be expanded. So it depends on how much of emotions and how much of loads of energy, emotional energy we dump into us. So all the dumping happens and you look like a dustbin. If you don't dump anything and every anger is directed towards the society, or you start to blame yourself, you melt down. If you suppress the grief, the person will expand like a balloon, and that is obesity. So Dai Mai is exterior, looks at the neck, shoulders, body, and the lateral side of the legs, and connected with Yang Wei, that is Sanjiao 5. Right? So Yin Wei can be used for palpitations, chest pain, and blood deficiency. That is P6. But the channel pathway has to be treated together for fruitful results. See, just taking account of only these 8 points and treating these 8 points or bilaterally 8 plus 8, 16 points will not help. You have to understand the branch, the pathway, and where it is connecting to the due meridian, where it is connecting to the Ren meridian, and which part you are treating. If at all it has a representative point on that part of the body, you have to use it. For example, if you are treating eyes, you can choose UB62 and you have to connect UB1 also, UB1 and stomach 1 also, which will complete the circuit And you have to find out where this UB62, that is the yang chio, is connected to the daimai and the dewmai or dew vessel, or if there is a connection to the ren also. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minimum 7 to 8 points you have to use when you are using the EOVs. So the Chong Mai has 5 distinct branches, and each branch has a specific impact on pathology in the Chong. We can treat better only if we can support a relationship between 2 or more branches in treatment. The pathology in the extraordinary vessel is based on posture and behavior also. For example, the influence of yang chio in people will make them very tense. They will look like they will actually stand up in attention, and they will walk to you like a military man, as if you are a president and this person is the commander of the 3 forces. He will come to salute you, upright in posture. And their visual focus often forward directed. But don't think that they will look like a military man. Sometimes there are children with tunnel vision. So they will not be able to turn around and look around. So they can only have a tunnel vision, and they will be looking at you straight, and they will be walking to you. Where you can understand that, oh, they have the problem with the vision. As I told you, the UB62 has to be treated along with the other points which I suggested. And you have to cook up your own points every time. The yang way, on the other hand, presents with a posture that has some twists and turns in it. Most of the times people will be walking to you and they may not be able to walk straight at all. There will be a sagging on the shoulders. There will be at least a curvature on the spine, at least at one place. So there will be some contractures, and there will be twist and turn as they walk towards you or when they move their hands and legs. So the Chong, Ren and Dew, all these 3 originate in the same area of the body, the lower burner, governed by the kidneys. These 3 channels are known as the first ancestry, as they are the source vessels for all the rest. So based on these 3 only, all the other 5 meridians develop. So the first ancestry, just as the kidneys are the source vessels of postnatal existence and responsible for storing the Jing and essence, like kidneys taking up almost 70 to 80% of the total physiology in its own physiology. The kidney physiology is actually taking care of 70% of the physiology in the body. When you consider Jing, the essence, and how it stores the memory of your past lives and everything. Yin and Yang Chio begin in the heels or ankles and intersect at the eyes. So these intersected pathways cause us to view these 2 vessels as reflecting stance and perspective. You can just imagine a Tendulkar facing each and every ball of Shenwan and then striking a sixer, hitting a sixer or a boundary, and how his foot moves along with his eyes. So the eyes look at the ball, the foot moves, and then the shoulders actually move the bat towards that ball. Otherwise, if everything is not connected, our hero or our captain is out. So the game is lost. So they tell us how we see ourselves and the world around us. They influence how we make strategies and stand. Somebody asks you a question, who you are. Persons will tell their name, or they will tell their profession. They will tell their family name, or they will say where they have come from. But if somebody asks suddenly who you are, what should be the answer? I don't know. I am yet to discover myself. See, that should be the right answer. If you say I am a man, oh, it talks about your gender. If you say your name, it's only your name. The answer for who you are is something very, very difficult. Nobody can extract and find out who they are, right? So that is how life situations are perplexing, and sometimes we have to evolve strategies to reply, to face an interview, to face the challenges. The yang Qiu and yang Wei have points in common that intersect where the arms and the legs attach to the trunk, and these two vessels govern action and locomotion. So you can see SI10 and gallbladder 29, SI10 in the middle of the scapulae and GB29 just before the trochanter, just before the ball and socket joint starts. So these actually are connecting the shoulder and the hip joint. The upper limbs and the lower limbs are connected, and through these points, the yang Qiu and yang Wei move. So the daima is the only horizontal vessel. All the other vessels are all vertical. Everything is vertical and upward. Only daima is the only horizontal vessel which is downward and in contact with all the other vessels, and helps to integrate and harmonize the functions through a stabilizing effect on other vessels, just like a belt or girdle or an umbrella, I could say umbrella or bucket. So you have to visualize an umbrella and a bucket together to visualize daima. Daima is both an umbrella and a bucket and the complete grid around us. So the influence of the vessel will be good through the connecting points, and their applications start now one by one. Extraordinary vessels or Jing vessels, the essence, right? That can be used to treat any problem related to the 7 or 8 years of growth. What is the 7 or 8? For the females, it is 7. The second 7, they attain puberty at the age of 14. For men, it is 8, 8, 8, 8. Cycles of 8. For women, it is cycles of 7. And there is a menopause. 7 into 7, 49 is the menopause time suggested for the women. For the men, it is 8 into 8, 64. At that time, the Jing completely is empty. When the Jing is completely empty, and it has to be actually promoted through life exercises, through diet and lifestyle. Otherwise, the natural Jing is completely depleted for women at the age of 49 and for men at the age of 64. So this treats the fertility issues, recurring miscarriage, infertility, impotence, seminal issues, sexual issues, genital and gynecological condition that impacts fertility. These conditions are the cause for much suffering. The inability to procreate has a terrible impact on one's sense of self. It actually hurts their morale and hurts them. They have a social stigma if they are not getting pregnant, if they don't have children. It is a sense of a shame or some sort of something that separates them from society. Developmental and congenital issues, birth defects. See, even a baby is born. That baby has birth defects, epilepsy. Baby is born to addicted mothers and diseases that affect development like meningitis. Although we cannot change chromosomal abnormalities, the EOVs can definitely improve how those congenital issues unfold, allowing the patient to have the best possible relationship to them. Many of the EOVs enter the brain to regulate neurological function, therefore influencing physical, emotional, and cognitive developments. Now, these EOVs, extraordinary vessels, are all very well connected to the extraordinary four organs. The extraordinary four organs: brain, uterus, bone, marrow, gallbladder, and then the vessels. So they have a deep connection. The 8 EOVs have a deep connection to the 6 EOF, extraordinary four organs. And the Jing, see, they actually carry the Jing essence to the extraordinary four organ, and they actually help life to get better every time when they are treated. Now the pathology in the extraordinary food, that is the first primary thing. Unlike the primary channel system, the EOVs have direct connections to these organs: brain, uterus, bones, marrow, spine, blood vessels, gallbladder, as well as the tissues and prostate gland. Disease conditions that affect DNA, aging, dying, cancer, AIDS, and genetic disorders. Unfolding of Jing helps to reverse the aging and wards off the fear of dying. And psychological or emotional issues, special issues like trauma, abandonment, abuse, neglect, and serious illness that all require hospitalization and developing in the first cycle of Jing can be treated by EOVs. These traumatic experiences leave an imprint on the psyche and disrupt how our Jing unfolds. So, unresolved conflict associated with identity, suffering associated with gender, culture, or sexual orientation are also Jing issues. When these issues create suffering, then we are unable to fully accept who we are. What is our purpose? Why we have come here? See, he's searching for the truth. He's searching for honesty. He's searching for love, like all of us. All of us have an issue. There are most of us who are searching for love, searching for honesty, searching for justice. And most of us are trying to migrate. Geographical migration will not solve the problem. Going for a better job will not solve the problem. A remarriage will not solve the problem. We always have issues, always have a question, always have a question. When these issues create suffering, then we are unable to fully accept who we are. EOVs help one to recognize and reorganize such feelings and the suffering of being lost. Opening the 8 EOVs needs great respect and humility in handling. As I told you, every person who learns acupuncture and holds a needle and punctures on somebody and starts teaching also, having his own school also, having his own students also, will not be a healer. A healer is born. There should be some inbuilt qualities. And as you hold the needle, there should be compassion in each and every needle. Every time you needle, your compassion should go into the points. And from the points into the meridian, and through the meridian into the organ or into the particular junction or structure. So the compassion or the healing principle or the healing intention should pass through the needle. Otherwise, there should be almost 1/3 of the population should have become acupuncturist here. Luckily, you can see more people. Still, we see more people. So we are actually not doing it, but trading it. So we do something, but sometimes it gives a very good effect. Sometimes people are cured. I don't mean that is accidental success, but there are people who have the touch, the heart in them to heal. The heart should have a healing perspective, and it should flow through the fingers. That perspective, that compassion should flow through the fingers and through the fingers into the needle and through the needle into the other person's body. So that healing touch of Jesus, prophet, and all the people, the Buddha, all the shamans who existed before should actually be imbibed. That should be taken inside of our heart first of all. So opening of the 8 EOVs needs great respect and humility in handling, and the key points should be honored by needling first in a sequence of points following the respective transporter, and then the cheek lift point along that pathway if available. For example, if somebody comes to me with a back pain, and if the person is already old enough, has stress in his job, it is very quick for us to capture that this person's kidney essence is declining. You can ask him a few questions, whether he is married, how many children he has and all that, and where he lives, whether it is a rented house or a house owned by him, and how much, whether he is satisfied with his salary and all that, whether he came by a two-wheeler and how was the traffic and all that. Very quickly you can capture that everybody's essence is declining today. With all the junk food, with all the modern gadgets available with us, just hold your Android for 2 hours in a day, finished, your kidney essence will decline. Watch 2 movies in a day, and that too without sleeping, 50% of the kidney essence will go away. Allow 5G network all over the world, only 10% of our population will remain. but 5G will remain for communication, better communication, and satellites will be just going round and round. Do you know today there was a satellite which fell down? A NASA satellite had fell down. It had faced NASA. NASA, finished. See, after so many years, I don't know the numbers, after so many years, see, everything will perish one day. We should understand that. And we are here to see whatever nourishes, not to allow anything to perish, but to nourish. That should be a human principle. That should be a very, very humble thing, a very, very holistic way that we have to move into society. And we have to see that we do a lot of things to actually educate the people and then bring them up, their life quality to be promoted. So it's advisable not to use the EOVs in children during their first 2 cycles of Jing, because already that is very fresh, and don't disturb them. It's better not to disturb unless there are severe congenital issues or much suffering. It is better to let the curriculum of normal children unfold naturally. There is a word called karma, and no one can change it. You can, of course, make it soft. You can soften the karma, but you cannot completely remove that karma. EOVs are miraculous in their broad-reaching effect, and they can basically treat anything. However, they should be considered as precious resources of Jing and Yuan Qi, which are the deepest level of a person's existence. It will be a terrible waste if they are used for common conditions and more frequently. So please don't follow the bookish knowledge. Please don't follow the bookish indications and use K6 and lung 7 for cough. Please understand that they are more than treating cough. If at all you have to treat a severe cough in a person, you have to insert the needle on K6 first, lung 7 should be second. Then if you are going to use lung 10 or lung 9 or lung 6 for wheezing, or lung 5 or whatever it is, you have to do that. So kindly understand that the needle also should go deeper, because Jing is something that is much deeper in the body. The superficial needling or the sujok needle will not serve your purpose. I'm so sorry. The needle should go deep, and there should be a dizzy sensation at least in 1 or 2 points. Now, see the unfolding of Jing and development of the psyche. The Chong Mai carries the source of our genetic inheritance. And then the Ren Mai, Yin, and the Du Mai, Du meridian, Yang. So this is undifferentiated. There is no Yin and Yang, and this splits into Yin and Yang. The one splits into 2, and the 2 or the reason or the cause of the making of so much. So the one divides into 2, the Yin and Yang, and the Yin and Yang produce the millions and millions of things in the whole universe. So the first ancestry, resources for life's journey, Chong Mai, Ren Mai, Du Mai. Then comes the Yin Wei and Yang Wei, which is like a tape recorder, which is a sequential record. It records sequentially from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. At the age of 20, I was about to face an accident. They will remember through the Yang Wei and how they escaped from that accident and what trauma they had undergone. And Yin Wei will remember what we did, what feelings about the past to the future and all that. And this links the behavior to the past, behavior from the past to the future. So this is about feelings about the past to the future from day 1 to today. And this is from day 1 to today, what we did for that condition. So, but Yin Chio and Yang Chio are like the vision turned inward, and this is vision turned outward. So taking a stand with self. So here and now, So this is something which is going on a day-to-day life process, but this is something which is much more sudden than that. Maybe this is like a normal year, this is like a leap year, and this is like a super leap year where you have February 30. How many people know here that February will have 30 days? In some X number of years, within X number of years, there will be February which will carry February 30. So February 29 is once in 4 years, a leap year. So this is much more a super leap year. So this Dai is the one, like our solar system or like the complete engulfing of all these. It takes care of everything. This is like a super Pitamaha or a Bhishma or a great grandfather taking care of the whole thing. The prenatal integration and harmonization was already there, and the postnatal reservoir of unresolved experience. If the experiences are unresolved, if your questions are not answered, they lie down, they just sit inside. They make you bigger and bigger and bigger. So they are adding small, small drops and making you a big ocean. Now the EOVs support the growth and development of not only the physical body, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual growth that defines who we are. Chong is the source of life and the birthplace of our curriculum in this configuration. The Chong is the vessel through which the spirit determines to become earthbound in a physical body. Chong links pre and postnatal chi through its influence on the kidneys, spleen, and the stomach, and allows for the transition from the unity or oneness of the source into a state of polarity that creates the potential for postnatal experience. So it creates the yin and the yang. The undifferentiated Chong becomes then yin and yang, that is Ren and Du. The Ren Mai delivers the building materials, see, the grass or the gardening materials for our postnatal journey, while Du Mai provides the motive force needed to construct anything with those resources. It is the carrier. It is like a vehicle. So there is life in it. It can grow, but this will not grow. The cart will be the same. It will be a carrier. It will be a vehicle to carry that. So the Ren and the Du. And the way vessels link the past with the future and actively record life as we live it. They register our experiences and our responses to those experiences. Healthy way vessels help us to cope with the ups and downs of life, our hurts, our anger, our experiences, and whatever you had seen, whatever you had heard, bitter or sweet or whatever life experiences, all will be recorded and determine how we might use the resources given to us during our lives. Whatever experiences can be used, can be tapped by using Pericardium 6 and Sanjiva 5, P6 which is yin way and SJ5 which is yang way. If they are damaged by painful experiences, we will be stuck in the past or longing for a future that can conquer the hurts of the past. Now we are dependent in childhood states. We were dependent in childhood states where we were taught by our caregivers to lead a successful life. The process of individuation requires us to apply what we have learned and to make others to know who we are. Mothers always say, oh, you have to get married and you have to have children, and I have to take care of the grandchildren before I grow old. See how much selfishness. Before I grow old, before I became debilitated, it's better that you marry and get some children so that I can take care of the children and my life will be over. See, is it somebody's life that we are all living? So the child, every child will not just follow the same state given by the caregiver. They take standpoints to live their own lives, to align with the world around them. Though we can love, respect, and appreciate the parents' standards for a successful life, everyone has to choose their own life and build a world around them. Therefore, the Chio vessels help everybody to use the resources to develop a healthy perspective on who they are and also on the world around them, and help them to take a stand there, then and there, that is here and now, on the spot decision based on their own perspective. That's very important. So when you give freedom to people, the Chio vessels will actually help them and they will take care. So pampering children, the mother or father, if they are together and they pamper the children, the Chio vessels will not be able to work like a mother and father. The Yin Chio will be the mother and the Yang Chio will be a father. They will take care of every child. Daimai is the system's motivator for survival and a container far away from the heart and the mind. So it is actually trying to protect the heart and the mind, and taking it is a dump yard. It is like a dump yard for all the emotive events that hurt or hamper our lives. Too much of unprocessed trauma will be weighed down with dampness by the daimai and stuffed down into the lower burner. They are away from blood and captured in Jing and far away from the consciousness of the heart and Shen. It's like mercury trapping each and every other metal and making an amalgam. Mercury can become an amalgam, it can amalgamate everything. It will completely engulf everything and it will completely grab or attract every other metal. So depression and apathy are thus dumped. So if we are unable in our lifetimes to process these events, then they are stored in the Jing or Chong Mai and passed on to the next generation. In the development of the psyche, because the memory of everything, every hurt is stored in the kidneys. And when everything is stored in the Jing, it is passed on through the sexual essence, through the gametes. And through the gametes, actually, we are going to produce another unhappy generation, unhappy children, accidental babies, and that's what is happening in the world today. In the development of the psyche, problems or pathology can occur anywhere in the process. Now we come to Chong Mai, and I hope that we can look into the 5 branches of the Chong Mai. And I will announce a short break, and you can decide whether we can continue after the 5 branches of Chong Mai, because this is a very, very, very elaborate session. So let us see whether we can actually cover up most of the things here. So the Chong Mai is also called the thrusting vessel, the penetrating vessel, and the thoroughfare, and vitality vessel. So the vital soul entry point is the key point in the Chong Mai, that is a spleen 4, Kong San. This is the source of all vessels, sea of blood or sea of yin and the sea of yuan qi, which is yang. The purpose of life is unseen, but blood is something which you can see. It is sticky. There are red corpuscles, white corpuscles. There is a structure. It is a fluid, connective tissue, and all that. But when you say yuan qi, what I see you cannot see. What I dream you cannot dream. What I can see in a flower, the other person cannot see. When you look at the landscape, you go into an imagination which is more subjective, and that subjective imagination will be different to each and every person who is the person looking at it. So the perspectives change. This is something abstract. So the undifferentiated yin and yang, therefore it creates ren and du. And the sea of 5 Zhang organs, the yin, and the sea of 6 Fu organs, yang. So much associated with the Chong Mai. It is the vessel of genetic information reservoir for the DNA, the essence of Jing. And 5 branches over a large area of the body from toe tips to the top of the head. Strongly influences stomach and kidney channels to provide a deep connection between prenatal and postnatal resources. This Chong is a bridge between prenatal experience in the womb and the postnatal existence. maintains the continuity of a lineage and gives our lives. Continues with our lineage, not only the parental connection, all the connections, where we had lived, which places you had been, what languages you had learned earlier. And all of a sudden at the age of 2 or age of 3, somebody will start singing, somebody will start talking a different language. And some child will just cling to somebody else and call them parents. And it will go away from the family. So there is a carryover, there is something adrift, blowing in some direction and making the leaves from branches fall down, and the fallen leaves just move into the shores of a bank of a river where there are some 20-30 ants which just crawl onto the leaf, and the leaf slowly starts floating on the river, and the ants are able to cross from one bank to the other with the help of that leaf. So there is purpose in life, even in a fallen leaf. So just imagine that how lives are just being carried along. So it maintains the continuity of a lineage and gives our lives. The source and seed of one's individual destiny and curriculum for life, Yuan Shen. Link connecting to one's lineage, family history, and the most authentic aspect of identity. The master point, spleen 4 or Gongsen, which is translated in English as grandfather, grandson, implies a link through the generations, the previous births that goes beyond our parents. A significant number of points from the kidney, spleen, and stomach channels, further supporting its capacity to link prenatal and postnatal chi and stomach. That is, to make it simple, I tell you, the Chong meridian is a collection of certain points on the kidney meridian, certain points on the spleen meridian, and certain points on the stomach meridian. That is Chong. Make it simple. The kidney points are predominantly located on the trunk, K12 through K27. And the spleen and stomach points can be found on the legs, beginning with stomach 30, where the legs attach to the trunk and continuing down to the toes. The prenatal aspect contains all the resources given for our journey, and the postnatal aspect of the Chong are the steps that we take to disseminate, feed, and support those resources. Chong Mai is the one or the all, everything, the unique meridian of prenatal existence. It follows that in order for us to have a postnatal human experience, the Chong Mai must give birth to the polarity of primal yin, ren Mai, and the primal yang, du Mai. And from this first act of separation or creation, the two become the many. The Chong vessel is responsible for creation, intergenerational trauma, and cultural expectation, and treats through its 5 branches. So those who want a change in their life, those who want to explore what is hidden in them, what has not been discovered in their life curriculum, I am giving a very important secret. Do moxibustion on spleen 4 bilaterally. Do that moxibustion for every day or every alternate day and continue until one moxa cigar is exhausted. Still, if nothing comes to you in your dream or in your mind, in your idea or in your family life or surroundings, take another moxa cigar. Try to finish the second cigar. And before you finish the second cigar, I am pretty sure that there will be lots of changes in everybody's life. And then share your experience. Please see that our way of life need not be a boredom, it need not be the same, it has to have a purpose. And those who think that they had a purpose and they had lost their purpose, those who are feeling lost, please do this as soon as possible. It will help you to clear everything. When you help the spirit to stay happily in the body, there are no bodily diseases. All the diseases from the body will be discharged. I have such a strong faith on this, and please believe and please trust and try to do that. The first branch of Chong Mai, which goes through REN 2, K11, stomach 30, spleen 12, and from kidney 12 to 21, that is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, all they can treat. If Dr. Sumitra, Dr. Yuvraj Satya, Dr. Bharat, who are all treating for fertility, so they are all working in fertility hospitals, and Dr. Sumitra is a gyneco acupuncturist. She learned from Harvard some other techniques also, and this is the first branch which they commonly treat for fertility. And I think I started the journey as a IVF integrated acupuncturist in Srishti Hospital, and then came out. Dr. Bharat started and continued and had a very good success, where we met Dr. Sumitra, who also learned and came into our curriculum of doing acupuncture. So the primary pathway of Chong connecting heart and uterus, upper and lower mansions of blood. The upper mansion is heart, the lower mansion of blood is uterus. As long as the woman becomes pregnant and produces a baby. Originating in the lower geo, the uterus in women, it descends to the pubic bone where it emerges and spreads to stomach 30 and spleen 12. Here it returns to the midline and ascends the kidney channel. Here it returns to the midline and ascends to the kidney channel to end at the diaphragm and spread in the chest. This branch treats issues related to the inability to link prenatal and postnatal chi. So due to kidney yang failing to support spleen chi, so that causes fertility issues, birth trauma, serious illness, or dietary issues in the first cycle of Jing can be the underlying etiology for pathology in this branch. For the first 7 years or 8 years of a child are very important. The parents should not fight. There should not be any mishap in the family. The disasters and every accident which the baby could watch, so completely rules the whole life of the child. These are traumatic sufferings of infants crossing from a prenatal to postnatal existence. If the child develops food sensitivities or allergies with the introduction of solid foods, that frequently presents later in life with a weakness in the function of the earth, that's the spleen and the stomach. Even in adults, there is a long history from birth or early childhood that they may present with a multitude of digestion problems and food allergies or aversions and peculiar eating habits, emotional eating, chronic fatigue, chronic depression, and an inability to pursue new ideas or bring context to current experiences. They are exhausted, but they keep on running because they cannot think clearly enough to get off the traumatic cycles. Their ability to transform and transport is compromised, which means they do not have enough yuan qi to change. That doesn't allow them to change. Come to the second branch, which is also very important. It is almost the REN pathway, allowing the Jing to connect to all other fluids and humors in the chest and face. The stomach, as the origin of fluids, supplies the clear fluids that need to ascend to the chest along the renmai, around the mouth and up to the eyes at stomach 1. This postnatal Chong ascends to nourish the sensory orifices for better clarity, better vision, better face, and the face will be bright enough. So the person will be able to attract business, attract friends. The girl will attract a man, and men will attract a girl, and that will go on. So the beauty, the attraction, and the being center of everything, center of intelligence. The intelligence speaks through the sparkling eyes. So the link to the chest connects additional collaterals of spleen, the spleen 21, which is actually a great luo, stomach 18, which is also an additional luo point. Kindly note that stomach 18 is a special collateral point. In today's class, you are learning that there is a 16th collateral not just 15 collaterals. There is a 16th collateral, stomach 18, already REN 15 is a collateral, together allowing for the management of blood flow in the chest. The kidney shoe points on the chest K22 to 27 gather and mediate the in resources of Jing, blood and body fluids. And each of the 5 kidney shoe points from 22 to 26 have both a 5-element association and a connection to the Shen through the 5 spirits, and K27 is the master shoe point, creating harmony or balance in the other 5. So 22 is water, 23 is earth, 24 is wood, 25 is fire, and 26 is metal. See, the order is completely different. The order is somewhat not like fire, earth, air, water, wood, or fire, earth, metal, water, wood. This is different. This is like water, which is absorbed by earth, and earth, which is penetrated by wood, and wood, which is actually producing fire, and fire, which melts the metal. So there is a different co-cycle order also here. So this is something which you will have to just memorize and keep in mind. So now come to the second branch of Chong, which treats the rebellious chi to relieve anxiety and panic attacks, internal urgency, vomiting, and chest pain. These patients may have lost the connection to their heart. Their spirits lack nourishment, and so they lose that deep sense of self that encourages them to live with contentment, saying, everything I need is available to me. When this connection is intact, people are able to find meaning in their experiences and remain with contentment, to carry on their lives with contentment. When the Chong Mai maintains the relationship with the heart and the kidney, whatever challenges, be it drama or illness, they experience, the experience will make them to understand in a way that helps them to grow and become more of who they are. It brings their curriculum, the Jing, into the light of Shen, so that the journey will have a meaning and purpose. It's at this level that patients are able to clearly pursue their destiny with heart instead of losing will and laying down to fate. They don't lose, they become victorious. They will just move towards achievement and a success. If they lack this connection, they lose the meaning and purpose, and they are prone to pursuing passions and desires that do not serve their growth at all. So that's more about the psychic management, balancing of the heart and all that. Now the third branch, REN 2, stomach 30, gallbladder 26. See, it is just jumping to the sideways. It's going and connecting to the girdle vessel, that is the diamide. Then the due one. Due 1 is another lower point of due meridian, and due 4, which is Mingmen, going through Mingmen, and then UB 17, actually trying to connect to the blood, the influential point of blood. So the Chong Mai is the source vessel that gives birth to primal yin and primal yang, we know that. The third branch is the connection to primal yang. So that was, the previous one was connection to primal yin, the REN meridian. See, it is connecting to the REN meridian, and this, the third branch, is a connection to the due meridian. It engages the motive force of yang and uses that force to propel or push blood and hold everything in place. The Chong uses the pathway of the diamide, the originating from due 4, to encircle the waist, to access the due mai. It is using the circuit. It's like a ring road. It's like a ring road actually, which is accessing another major trunk road, that is the due meridian. This branch has an impact on cognition and memory. It ensures blood flow to the brain and the heart, and supports the due mai function of governing the sea of marrow. Sea of marrow is brain. Brain and spinal cord is known as sea of marrow. So it supports the function of the governor vessel, or the GV, or due mai, due meridian. When patients lose the fire of Mingmen and the motive force of yang, we can see the loss of will, apathy, and mental clarity. They lose the mental clarity. They become stupid. The memory is affected because the sea of blood fails to nourish the brain, the sea of marrow and the heart. Loss of yang results in chi sinking or damp accumulating from a lack of transformational fire. So this transformational fire is in the Mingmen, which is associated with the daimai, the belt vessel. And the belt vessel is so important that it associates with the dew and the ren, and it connects with the Chong Mai also. So the loss of the motive force of yang that comes in this branch of Chong Mai is waning like a pilot light in an old furnace. It is like a flickering flame which is going to extinguish. So the fourth branch of Chong Mai is K11, K10 downward. See, it is down, moving down to the knee joints to K10, and then posterior to UB40, and then once again coming to anterior, encircling the lower limb, it is coming to K3 and K6. See how it is connected to the Incho meridian. See, the Chong is connected to all other meridians like the Dai Mai. The Dai and the Chong are connected through Dew and Ren to all the other meridians. So the fourth branch travels downward into the legs from the groin and has a strong connection to the Chio vessels. This branch causes the feeling of strong grounding and easy movement. It brings Jing to the bones in the feet to support posture as the alignment of posture begins in the feet. It also brings yang to the spleen. So child walking, see, childs will trip and fall down. They will have difficulty in walking. There will be developmental delay in children in walking. Even in adults, walking upright related to the dew meridian is affected if this branch. They will not walk upright. They will walk with a hunch. They will walk like an ape man with a curvature on their spine, scoliosis, lordosis, and all such things. So if this is not connected well, so this branch may also show up as instability in the mental emotional process, since the person may not be grounded. Stability or grounding comes in three forms. The relationship of Chong with the kidneys, the bottom points of the foot. The relationship of the Chong grounding through the element earth, the spleen and stomach. So earth is a grounding factor. It is actually having a gravitational pull. So the connection of gravity or the earth element to Chong, the connection of the kidney bottom points of the foot with the Chong, and number three is connection to the blood, which is a dense form of yin that provides the material basis for the mind. For the mind or for the circulation into the heart, for the heart to be pumping the enriched blood even to the brain whenever you need the mind to go to the head temporarily. So the mind has to go everywhere. It has to manifest within each and every cell, and therefore there should be a very good blood circulation. So it has to be connected to blood. It has to be grounded through the earth element towards gravity, and it has to be connected well to the lower kidney points. So the descending or grounding nature of this branch, the third branch, can also treat asthma and some digestive problems by redirecting, see, K6, K3. Why K3 and K6 are treating asthma? Because they are actually along the third branch of the Chong Mai. So far we have taught in basic schools something. Now we have to teach the fresh student. The student coming in on the second, third or fourth day, or at least within 1 month, we have to teach all our acupuncture students that K3 and K6 are used for asthma because they are also on the third branch of Chong Mai, which is an extraordinary vessel. And for extraordinary vessel, we have so much of resources. See, already you have 20 pages, you will have some 49 pages, you will have 100 pages of resources. So we have to teach the extraordinary vessels as soon as possible, after just giving a preliminary explanation of the meridian system, we have to quickly bring them into the extraordinary vessel system. Once again, revise all the meridian systems. So that will produce the greatest acupuncturists, not for India, for the whole world. So this branch causes the feeling of strong grounding or an easy movement. So Imbalances in this branch affect a child during walking developments. So you have seen that now. Yes, the descending or grounding nature of this branch can also treat asthma. Yes. Now, fifth branch, stomach 30, stomach 36, see, stomach 37, 39. These are all lower EC points. See, stomach 36, stomach 37, 39 are lower EC points. Stomach 30 is a point where the Chong meets the Chi, that is the meridian, the Chi meridians. That is, so it is known as Chi Chong. The name of this point, stomach 30 itself, is Chi Chong, where Chong meets Chi. Chong enters the regular meridian system here. So from there, it goes to stomach 36, 37, 39. Stomach 42, which is a source point of stomach meridian, and then liver 1 and spleen 1. See the success rate of acupuncturist or Sujok acupuncturist or just somebody who just uses Sujok needles on spleen 1 and liver 1. There are students from the Sujok academies also here. So using spleen 1 and liver 1, they had treated lots of migraine issues. Everybody had been successful. Everybody is intelligent. I started saying that only when I started growing old. Without growing old, I cannot expect you, or I cannot force anybody to become to travel with acceptance. The acceptance will automatically come when wisdom enters you. Wisdom has to enter. You cannot learn wisdom from a university. You cannot learn wisdom from a book. So the fifth branch connects the spleen chi and liver blood. See, through the lower EC points of the stomach, large intestine and small intestine, stomach 36, 37, 39, and influences assimilation. The spleen's transformation and transportation functions, which is assimilation, ingestion, finally the digestion, every process. When the spleen is functioning well, it initiates the generation of blood, which is stored by the liver. If the spleen, chi and liver blood are sufficient, they will support the kidney in. This branch supports the healthy lifestyle choices needed to maintain and conserve our prenatal resources. If you are not nourished, if the absorption in the digestive organs doesn't happen, the first absorption doesn't happen, the reabsorption will also be a problem. And ultimately, you will have less Jing, less of fluid, less of essences in your body. So the healthy choices arrive if the fifth branch is proper. Ultimately, the Chongma is the bridge between the prenatal and the postnatal chi. It is the source of all the other vessels and the place where our core identity or existence resides. The Chongma links us to our lineage, to who we are, how we have come here, or what is our purpose in life and all that. So you won't get all the answers, but however, you will start performing better, which in some ways is anchoring and supporting the generational baggage. What generational baggage? We had been carrying something, we had been looting from our previous life. Yes, we had looted all the information, all the learning, all the languages, all the skills, all the music. Otherwise, how can you expect an infant, a small child, to talk about ragas, scriptures, and recite? There are children who can recite. They can simply say on which page what is written in the Bible or the Quran or Tirukkural or Vedas. See, children are born intelligent because they had been carrying the generational baggage of what knowledge they had acquired available for us. So they have been carrying a generational baggage of lot of information available for them to work through. Chong is the place where we can remember who we are: spirit, light, love, and perfection. So Chong Mai, 5 branches completed, and this is a summary. Chong Mai treats the gynecological problems associated with blood deficiency, blood stasis, blood heat, and kidney deficiency, and any condition that affects the 3 treasures, the Jing, Qi, and Shen, the kidney, spleen, and stomach and heart. The Qi counterflow, a hot face with cold feet, fullness and distension in the trunk, the internal urgency, or it's called the piglet syndrome, Running piglet syndrome, always there will be an internal urgency and something running inside. Lumps in the throat or breast. So there is an obstruction in the throat, and sometimes they would love to express something, they would hide it. It's not only a physical substance. Sometimes the mind will not speak out. They will not express a truth. They will just keep some secrets or keep something, and they will tell a lie outside, which will actually which will be causative factor for throat cancer or thyroid cancer, thyroid issues, cystic breast. So when you suppress, you keep everything in your body, and something develops in the cells or around the cells, and there is a proliferation. When you express too much, when you are too much angry, you completely burn yourself. So that's happening with emotions, because emotion is capable of pushing down the energy or pushing upward or completely draining the energy or condensing and crystallizing the energy and making it into cancer cells. So emotion, energy, and then the existence goes into a malformation. You should understand how the emotions actually work. Fear is downward, anger is upward and rushing very fast, abrupt. And joy is actually completely draining the person on all the peripheries. Completely peripherally, he is drained completely. And grief is something which very much concentrates and condenses, because metal is capable of aggregating and forming a crystal and forming stones inside. Hair growth issues, scanty beard in men, less scalp hair in women, excessive facial hair in women, all associated with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and 9 kinds of heart issues, arrhythmias, anxiety, and palpitations. And today there was an article about bradykinin, which causes bradycardia and slowing down the heart, which has been discovered by scientists, that the ACE2 inhibitors are actually targeted, and bradykinin is actually promoted in large, and there is not a cytokine storm, there is a bradykinin storm which causes a bradycardia and a slow heart. And that is the reason people are in ICU, and only a few people come out of the ICU. Because when that factor, that bradykinin storm actually tries to bring down the heart rate, the medical science cannot save them. Otherwise, if they integrate with the TCM, with the homeopathy, and connect to the genes which can intelligently work out that bradycardia issue, they can come out. There is a supreme will that can bring them out of the ICU. So morning sickness of any stomach excess syndrome and asthma due to rebellious chi or phlegm stagnation and atrophy of the legs, all can be treated by intelligently understanding the 5 branches of the Chong.